Welcome to Lead to Grow, Module 3, Lesson 1 on Organization's Vision. In this Module 3, and starting with Lesson 1, we're going to address how do you know where you are going? Patrick Lencioni said it best when he said, if you could get all the people in the organization rowing in the same direction, you could dominate any industry in any market against any competition at any time. But if you don't know where you're going, you'll never get there. The other day, two of my young grandkids, and they call me G-Bob for Grandbob, wanted me to fly the paper airplanes they had made. It reminded me of when I was their age and my mom and dad would take me with them every Friday night to their couples bowling league. As you can imagine, being a high energy boy, I was bored stiff. That is until I would find a piece of paper and with a few simple folds, transform it into a plane. Think back when you were your younger years, when you made paper airplanes and tossed them into the air again and again. When the planes took flight, where did they land? You never knew what their flight path would be, did you? I remember sometimes my planes made a full circle and went straight to the floor. Other times, they would gently glide across the bowling house until hitting someone with a surprise. And that's when I would go hide like nothing happened. You know, we do not arrive at our desired destination in life and in business by accident. If we don't know where we're going, we'll tend to drift away from our dreams. If you have no vision, you also will never arrive at your desired destination. Why? Well, there's a law at work in the natural world that is also operative in our life and business. It is the second law of thermodynamics. This principle tells us that the physical world is decaying and that the direction of all creation is downward, not upward. Everything eventually runs down. Have you ever wondered why a garden left unintended eventually becomes overgrown with weeds? The answer is that everything in the natural world is decaying. And if we do not exert a proactive counter effort, the natural course of events will lead us to drift like a paper airplane in both life and business. That is why it is essential to develop a vision statement to reverse the natural tendency toward drift and decline. I like what Jonathan Swift said, that vision is the art of seeing what is invisible to others. My good friend and mentor, Jim Lundy, reminded me of this tendency with these wise words. If you don't know where you're going, any path will get you there. But you won't realize if you're lost. If you won't know what time you've arrived, you won't know the dimensions of your challenge. Others won't understand how they could help. And since you could pass right by without recognizing it, wow, you won't get the satisfaction of having arrived. Well, I learned early in life that it was important for me to pause, reflect, and plan so I could know where I was going. But I also learned that it was even more important to clarify the vision, where I was going in the workplace. So we would all go down the right road together. Likewise, in your personal life and with your workplace team, you can reach your destination much sooner by avoiding the ambiguous vision. Consider the following example, which illustrates the adverse effects of an ambiguous vision. Imagine that you are at a family reunion picnic and you decide to try your hand at a game of archery. You select your bow and receive as many arrows as you wish. As you step up to the line, you notice that there is no target inside. Then someone who is overseeing the game says, okay, select an arrow, draw your bow, and shoot. Well, what do you do next? Do you just, stand there waiting for further instructions with no defined target? I bet you would hesitate to draw your bow. But let's say you shoot one arrow just to see what happened. If you shoot, you would learn what it feels like when you do not know where the target is. Without the feedback of seeing how close you came to the target, you would not adjust your aim in order to hit closer to the bullseye next time, because there's no bullseye. You would have no way of knowing if you came close to hitting the target. In other words, you could not even gauge your level of success. Well, achievement and recognition are two of the best motives. And for our personal life and as leaders, we should provide ourselves as well as our employees with a chance to seek and achieve fulfillment in endeavors. But first, the vision of where you're going must be clearly defined, understood, and accepted as reasonable to be fully beneficial. Your personal life and your workplace employees need a vision for the future so actions can be corrected when targets are missed. And so everyone can feel the deserved satisfaction when targets are hit. An ambiguous vision without adequate feedback in your personal life and in the workplace will lead to confusion and frustration. Well, if your curiosity has led you to ask again, why? The wow. Once a year, our business held a half a day company-wide meeting. The objective was to emphasize a yearly theme, and one year, the theme of the meeting was wow. Years prior to our wow day, our people had already heard me speak about our purpose and our vision. The wow day would help us further codify our thinking about the wow concept. The first W is about why do we exist, our purpose. The O has no meaning. The second W is about where are we going, our vision. In this module 3 and starting with lesson 1, we've been discussing, are you drifting like a paper airplane? Would you like a sense of personal and work achievement and the recognition for that achievement? Do you know where you're going? Well, in this Lead to Grow Module 3, Lesson 1, would you mind just recording for yourself 1, 2, maybe even 3 action items that you're going to take today? And this concludes Lesson 1 on organization's vision.